At that time, the Hispanic community around us really didn't know much about homeschooling. We just a family sharing the blessing of being homeschool parents. And that's where it all begins. We believe that every family is unique. And what God really is looking for is to highlight that uniqueness and to empower and raise our children in the way they should go. I mean, we are created intentionally by God to do something here on this earth. That's true for every single human being that is here listening to this podcast. We have a purpose.
Welcome to CHEA's California Homeschool Podcast. I'm Angela Lasch, and I'm so glad you are here today. If you are a Hispanic family in California who has ever wondered whether homeschooling is even possible for you, whether it fits your culture, your language, your faith, this episode was made with you in mind. I had the privilege of meeting my guest today at a national homeschool leadership conference last fall, and I knew right away that California families needed to hear her story. She is the co-founder of Transition Ed, a ministry dedicated to equipping Hispanic families to homeschool with biblical purpose and vision. And she brings a passion for this work that is absolutely contagious. So for now, grab your coffee, settle in, and be prepared to be encouraged. And let's welcome Ana Maria. Hello, Ana Maria. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you for having me, Angela.
Yes, and praise God, it finally worked out. So I'm just excited. We have a lot to cover, so we're just going to jump right in.
Absolutely. I'm all ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just talk a little bit about your background, about your history, because I know you weren't born in this country. You were born in Bogota, Colombia, but you and your husband, Ricardo, have been in the United States for over 20 years. So can you just tell everyone listening a little bit about your journey and what your life looked like before you discovered homeschooling?
Oh, wow. Well, I moved here with my parents in 1998, and I had to go straight into public school. And I came from a private school. So I highlight that because it was quite an impact. I come from a very um, close family, and where I used to live in Bogota, the education looked very different from what I encountered here. I lived with my parents until I married Ricardo, and I went to college here as well. So I have 2 degrees, and one of them is interior design, the other one is family counseling, and I also have a minor in business management. And of course, a lot of these happened way before I had to make the decision to homeschool, because I came across homeschool when my oldest son, now 16, so my first son, turned 3. And as a responsible mother, I started to look into educational systems and how I was going to educate this child. So we started investigating, but homeschooling was never in my options. I didn't even know it existed. And remember, I was educated way differently in my country. I went to kindergarten, I went to a private school. Then when I moved here, I went to public school. So I had that experience as well. And then I became a mom after a year of being married to Ricardo. So what happened was that across that investigation, a workshop appeared. And that workshop was like 2 or 3 days away from the time I found out about homeschooling. And it was like an info session. And I still remember that day as if it was an hour ago. I went into the room, and it had a very well educated mother that knew everything from the legal side to what homeschooling looked like here in Florida. And maybe I spent like an hour or so in that workshop, and I immediately saw the connection of what we wanted to do as parents, how we complemented our life as business owners. And at that time, we were also serving at church. We were very involved in ministry. So when I found homeschooling, it was everything in one, everything in one. And I wanted to be a mother that raised her children. And so was Ricardo. So I just immediately accepted the idea of homeschooling, but I also knew it was going to be a learning experience for us because I had never walked that path.
So you have this background in interior design, family counseling, and Ricardo holds a degree in Christian education. So how did those backgrounds shape the way you approached homeschooling your own children?
Well, as I look back, I see that education apply to everything we do in homeschooling, honestly, without even thinking or planning for it. So we are very entrepreneurial, and our children have been raised with this mentality of being entrepreneur, being creative, bringing solutions, using their talents and gifts since they were born almost. They have been around that kind of atmosphere. So the business side, it's definitely there. Education has always been my passion, and Ricardo, we have always been teaching and sharing. We absolutely enjoy it. And then the counseling part came as we progressed in this path because we encountered a lot of questions from our peers, from family members, and we immediately started kind of counseling families. Just it was just a natural process, but I actually went to study counseling because of the demand and the need that we saw in the Hispanic community. So now that I look back, I can definitely see the creative side. I'm an interior designer, so I'm all about color, shapes, smells, looks, atmospheres, and that's what we do in homeschooling. We create atmospheres, we create environments for our kids. So I can definitely apply what I learned. But again, this was all natural. This was not something that I premeditated. It has been just flourishing, and we have learned to use those tools in our daily journey as homeschooler parents.
I love that, and I love how every family is unique, regardless of the past. Every homeschool family has just their own spin, their own take of how God just leads the family. That's amazing. So, what was the need that you saw in the Hispanic community that compelled you and Ricardo to launch Transition Ed in 2017? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as I said before, we started encountering questions and counseling families just because they saw us in the journey and they were seeing the fruit in our children, and they were seeing that things could be done way differently than the way in which we have been educated traditionally. So we sort of became an example, but we were the strange ones. We were like the cave people, okay? People around us didn't know anything about homeschooling. So we were shining the light as we learned. And so that called my attention because we were enjoying the fruit of home education. We were testifying, we were counseling, we were just enjoying our children from an early age. I noticed that the other parents were not enjoying. Were very distant from their children. They were kind of looking for what we were having at our house, and naturally, well, we shared it. But I think God expanded that vision, and it turned out that it was not only with our friends and family, it was like all over the place. At that time, the Hispanic community around us really didn't know much about homeschooling. So I'm talking about 14 years ago here in Florida. So I live South Florida, which is very mixed with the Latin American communities. There's a person from every single country, I think, from South Central America here. Um, and they really had no clue of what homeschooling was. And they were just planning to send their children to public school, and particularly if they were immigrating just straight into the public school, like it happened to me. It's just kind of natural for parents to just follow the current, but we didn't. So because we didn't, we were the different ones. And as I started seeing that sadness and I started proposing this idea of, hey, there's a better path. There, you're missing out. This is fun. We don't study that much. The homeworks are kind of like non-existent. We cook together. We use our pajamas. We wake up a little bit later. And I started saying all these things, and these people could not understand what I was talking about. They were in this hamster wheel. That's how I call it, just running in the wheel, same routine every day, fighting with their children. As we started seeing this all over the place, I started talking to some leaders in the community. These leaders were like American veterans that are now part of our conference. So, I had the pleasure and the blessing to be able to speak and share and also ask questions from the veteran parents because I'm bilingual. So I had a lot of questions, and I found support in them. And then I started transferring that support into my community. And well, there was a lot of need. So people were just coming naturally to ask. And one day we got invited to speak about homeschooling with Ricardo in an online conference, but we didn't have the ministry open. We didn't even have business cards. We just a family sharing the blessing of being homeschool parents, and that's where it all begins. So the need was there. I confirmed that need with other veteran leaders, and I said, "Why have nobody done anything about this? Our community is missing out from such a path, from so many blessings, and there's a disconnection between this world and the other world." So we became sort of a bridge between the homeschooling or the home education world with the people that are still in that system. And I'm talking to you many years ago, even before transition was born officially and that we founded this ministry, we were already doing it as parents. And so I always say, look what God has done. Honestly, we never planned to be hosting an international conference. And this year, expanding to Latin America, that's quite a testimony.
That is so exciting. It's amazing to just hear what God has done in the ministry of transition ed. And I love your mission statement because it talks about fostering each student's life purpose within the family unit, grounded in biblical principles. So, what does that life purpose look like practically inside a home?
Yes, that's the spinal cord of everything we do. You said it before. We believe that every family is unique. And what God really is looking for is to highlight that uniqueness and to empower and raise our children in the way they should go. We firmly believe that every family has a purpose. I mean, we are created intentionally by God to do something here on this earth. That's true for every single human being that is here listening to this podcast. We have a purpose. Now, imagine if you can discover the purpose at home with your children on a daily basis by creating atmospheres, by playing, by doing things with them, by talking to them, by sharing experiences. And I think that's exactly what home education brings to our homes. It's a full lifestyle in which you're discovering this gift, your children. It's a gift to you, but it's also a gift to society. And they do have a purpose. So when we are at home, what we have learned is that there is seasons. So how does that look? Well, it depends on the age of our children, right? And it also depends on the age of the parents sometimes. Really have to know where we're standing and what our children need. And very important is not to copy what other families are doing. Maybe learn from their experiences, but when you start copying, you really destroy that uniqueness. You really have to find out what the strength is in your family. In our case, we are creatives. All of us here are creatives. We play music, we draw, we sketch, we are entrepreneurial. Every single one of us has a business idea here, and it's very natural. We didn't impose that. It just comes from the inside. So I can say that our children, ourselves, my husband and myself, we were born with that DNA. We just didn't know. And so when you homeschool, as a parent, you're also getting to know yourself, you're getting to know your children, and you focus more on that relationship than on the academics. So, on a daily basis, what we usually do as we have progressed through these years, by the way, I'm 2 years away from graduating my first homeschooler all the way. All those that have graduated like 5 and 6, and all those parents that have like 10 kids and have done it perfectly. Please cheer me up. It's very exciting, but I'm not the same person now than what I was when I made this decision. And I said that as a testimony that it has helped me grow as a person, as a mother. It has offered me the possibility of building a strong relationship, hopefully, that will transfer into the future. And so the way we did it, yes, we get academic books, we get curriculum, we get activities for our children, but we always started with relationships. So we started maybe having breakfast together or lunch together. That's super important for us, having at least one meal a day together at the table, all five of us sharing. We have been very blessed to be speakers. So our children have come along with us to the speaking opportunities. So they have traveled with us, be in the environment of a convention where we have a booth and we talk to strangers and they are part of that conversation. That is curriculum right there. I can say that There's much more learning from an experience than just reading a book. And we have been so blessed in that sense that is very natural for us again. So for those parents that want to simplify things, it's really simple. You have to eliminate all this concept of the traditional public school. It's way different. It's 180 degrees different. It's you can't bring that idea and mix it with homeschooling. Like home education is for you to start discovering a way in which your children learn. So your curriculum is going to be different. Your environment is going to be different. I love to teach at my dining table and on my patio outdoors, but some other parents are different. They like to go to the library and they like to be in their rooms or something like that. The environments are created per family, and of course you have to stay on track of the grade level of your children, but the grade level is also kind of a gray zone because their child can be so advanced that if they're 8 they can be performing at I don't know, maybe um, 10th grader. You don't know if you have a gifted child. So it's very hard to set up a mold and tell people this is the way you should do it. There's no recipe. I'm just sharing with you our experience again and again. I said it's quite a journey, the discovering every day, and we continue to do it. So and our life has been transformed honestly by this decision of educating our children at home.
I absolutely love just everything you said and all the real practical examples that you gave, but also just the importance of like what has worked so well for your family might look completely different in another family. There's no cookie cutter, there's no right or wrong way to do this.
Yes.
But is there a specific encouragement? Since this podcast is going out in California, and my prayer is that it's going to reach the Hispanic community, is there anything specific you would tell somebody maybe listening that is maybe afraid to homeschool or just doesn't think that this could work for them? Is there maybe something different you would tell maybe a family from the Hispanic community considering homeschooling that might be a different advice from somebody else considering it?
Yes, the Hispanic community is very unique too, and we have found always these patterns that hold back people's decision to home educate. So one of the biggest fears is if you're doing something illegal or you're experimenting with this new idea and there's no background to it and there's no floor and there's no community. That's I think one of the number one fears. I think everybody experiences, but I see it more often in the Hispanic community, and I will tell to those parents, I know the feeling. I was there. I already expressed to you where I come from. But that fear, although is valid, is holding you up from such a transformational experience for your family. And what I want you to see is that homeschooling can offer you the opportunity to build the relationship you love to have with your children, that home education might be a challenge at the beginning, but you're not doing it alone either. You're not the first one jumping into the waters. There's a vast community growing. Nowadays, we have Hispanic activities. We have Spanish speakers to support you. Back in, I don't know, in the 80s, when everything started, might not look like that. But now we do have so many resources, bilingual resources, leadership that is there to support you. So, in my opinion, this is the best time to just make this decision and find the support you need. Give yourself the opportunity. I guarantee you won't go back.
So we're so excited because you will be coming to California to speak at our upcoming convention. But before that, you have your own big event happening. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how families in California can be part of it?
Well, thank you for having us in California this year. We're definitely looking forward to your convention. We've never been at CHEA's convention. It's kind of like our tribe there because there's a lot of Hispanic families. So we're very looking forward to be there. Before we get there, we are hosting our annual Hispanic Homeschool Conference named Educa por Diseño 2026. And this year, it's under the theme Build or Construye. And it's a call to parents to start building a different foundation for their homes, to start gathering the necessary tools, building from the bottom up. This journey is essential to us. I know homeschooling has become very popular, but we don't present home education as a popular trend. We really present this as a generational blessing in which you can disciple your children and raise them in their purpose. So, what we do annually is we bring strong speakers, good, good support systems to you, leadership and resources in Spanish. And you can talk to them, reach out to them, and enjoy 2 days of education, of inspiration, so that when you go back home, you can start fresh. But also, this year is online. So now we don't have any barriers or excuses that we can bring up not to connect. You can actually connect from the kitchen, from your car this coming April 10th and 11th, and I highly encourage you to start listening to this information in our language, in Spanish. Start listening to these leaders that are veterans in homeschooling. Some of them don't speak English, but they will have an interpreter. So you will hear the message in Spanish. We're just looking forward to it because this year it's going to be hosted also in Colombia, in Venezuela, and in Bolivia simultaneously. For the first time in 5 years, we're seeing this conference expand to feed the need that our community has. So it's no longer something local for us. We are in Florida and we have done this conference in person, but this year it goes global, I will say, and completely in Spanish from Florida to you. I hope you enjoy the opportunity and you join us. Make that decision, save those dates for your family and yourself. You're going to have roundtables. You're going to be able to ask questions live, and we will be there for you.
What an amazing opportunity. I do pray that many families listening will take just this opportunity to be able to, yeah, enjoy 2 full days online hearing the conference in Spanish. I just think so many people are gonna be blessed and encouraged, so I'm super excited for that. But I'm also so excited that you're gonna be coming to California, and you're gonna be doing a free session on Friday morning in Spanish. So can you just share a little bit about what you're gonna be talking about?
What we want to do is bring practical solutions and kind of remove those myths that surround the homeschooling Hispanic community. And we do it in a practical way. We do it with our own testimonies. We do it with joy, but we go very straightforward and we speak truth. I find a great value in speaking truth and explaining to our community where the system comes from, why do we home educate, why the why behind what we do. The why is what sustains everything. And I think our community is exactly at that point where they're starting to get this conviction to home educate, but they don't quite know the why should I do this. So most of our topics are going to be along the line of the challenges that we have as Hispanic families. We know there's a cultural clash there, but we can overcome all those obstacles. We're going to also share about how to get started from a practical perspective, not to repeat or copy the system that we come from, but how to use what you already have. We're not going to call you to start purchasing curriculum and transforming, remodeling your home. I'm going to walk you through on how to get started with what you have at your house, even if you don't speak the language, because one of the challenges many parents bring up to us is that they're not bilingual. They only speak Spanish. But I found out, and one of our guest speakers is going to talk about how to raise bilingual children precisely because it's not an obstacle, it's actually a strength. When you speak two languages at home, you can find support and also in a professional or a tutor. And now you have a bilingual child, which is it has a tremendous advantage. Their brain works differently when you're bilingual. I'm one of them. So it's such a blessing. So when we're there, we want to be approachable to you. We want to share with you. We want to cry with you. Sometimes we need a shoulder to cry because there's a lot of challenges in between, and we're going through a transformational period. And we also approach it from a parent's perspective. I mean, I can counsel you, and we can talk about statistics, and we will share that. But always our talks are very parent oriented, relationship based, very warm, but also very confrontative because there's definitely some things that need to be straightened up.
I love that. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about your online conference, and I can't wait for you to come to California and meet the families here. So, In the meantime, how can families reach out and get more information about Transition Ed? What's the best way to find you and to find more information?
The best way is always our website, which is www.transitioneducation.net. And out from there, you will find our email address, our social media. We have a podcast in Spanish, parents. It's completely in Spanish and it's audio and video. The name of the podcast is Sentados a la Mesa, which translates into sitting at the table. And what we do is we have a conversation at the table on different topics regarding parenting, regarding home education, regarding government too. We think that parents, Hispanic parents, need to understand the connection between the legislative side, the government side, to education and home education. So there's also some gaps there that we are going to be talking about when we get there to CHEA as convention. We're going to be addressing these very important connection. You can't disconnect from the legislative aspect of home education. And you can still do it, but it's very important for you to know. So on our podcast, we touch on those topics, and all of these you can find on our website. Again, it's our website is the one-stop center where you can find our subscription to our mailing list, the announcement, and everything about our conference is there too. You can see the speakers, you can see the agenda, you can register there. Registration is open, and we're only 29 days away from the time of this recording.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to put all that information in the show notes so people will be able to get it and reach out to you. And again, I'm just praying for many divine appointments that many people will attend your online conference and come and meet you at Calvary Chapel Downey on July 10th and 11th this summer, which, we're only a couple months out. So we're really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Angela. I already bought my tickets, so we'll be there for sure. Please join us. Thank you for having
Yay!
me. Thank you for having me. We are
Wonderful.
looking forward to share with your community there. And please, por favor, inscríbanse. Vamos a estar ahí. Queremos conocerlos. That's a small message in Spanish for you guys. We really look forward to connecting with you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we will see you in July. Thank you so much. Ana Maria, thank you so much. This conversation has been such an encouragement, and I know it is going to land in the hearts of exactly the families who needed to hear it today. Friends, if anything Ana Maria shared today stirred something in you, please do not let that feeling pass without acting on it. Here is how you can take your next step. First, follow Transition Ed. Find them online. You can get the information in the show notes, access their resources. And if you speak Spanish or know a family who does, get this episode into their hands today. Second, mark your calendar for April 10th and 11th. That is when Transition Ed is hosting their online conference, and it's coming up fast. This is your opportunity to go deeper with Ana Maria and her husband Ricardo before they even arrive in California. Registration information is also in the show notes, so make sure you scroll down and sign up now. And then, of course, this summer, we want to see you in person. Ana Maria and Ricardo will be joining us at CHEA's annual Parenting and Homeschool Convention on July 10th and 11th at Calvary Chapel Downey. This year's theme is Preserving Liberty, and it cannot be more timely. If you are a homeschool leader, we also invite you to our leadership conference on July 9th, the day before the convention opens. Registration for both events are open, and you can get all the information on our website at cheaofca.org. Finally, if this podcast has been a blessing to you, the single greatest thing you can do is to subscribe, tell a friend, leave a review, and share this episode with a Spanish-speaking family in your community or your church. Every subscription and every share helps us reach more California families with the resources and encouragement they need to homeschool with confidence and conviction. Until next time, keep pressing forward. You are not alone in this calling, and the God who called you is faithful to equip you. God bless you.
Brought to you by thepodcastupload.com, empowering faith-driven voices.